So yesterday at E3, Ubisoft showed us some of the upcoming content coming to For Honor this October, and as you probably know by now, this content is the new Breach game mode, some more PvE content, and of course 4 new heroes. And while I planned on talking about all this stuff with you guys yesterday, I didn't want to cram everything into one video, so today I want to talk about the 4 new heroes. Now, I just want to say this off the bat, these heroes look insane, all 4 of them, in terms of their weapons, armor, and style. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see them all in action. The 2 heroes we did see a little more in depth were the Shaolin and Shidu. Now personally, I'm more excited for the Shaolin because of the way he moves and fights, along with the sound of his staff hitting his opponents. He sort of dances around with these long-reaching, stamina-intensive moves, which have such a long reach. So I'm assuming he's going to be a great team fighter and really good at clearing zones or helping him breach. Because I mean, look at how wide he swings that staff. He does look pretty fast, which makes sense because he is an assassin, and at first glance I honestly thought he didn't even belong in the game because he just does everything so differently. He's supposed to be a really technical fighter, so I'm assuming you'll have to press a lot of buttons to use him efficiently, but that's okay to me. He's got a sweep, follow-up kicks, a super fast but weak top light attack, a pretty quick zone, and this extra stance that allows him to access these moves. Overall, he looks really fun. He might be a little annoying to fight against at first, but that's how it is for any new character. We'll all learn how to fight against him eventually. Now on Shidu, again, another fast hero. He's going to be the Woollens Vanguard, and me personally, not really too into him. I love his armor, but not his playstyle, so he's going to be a little on the fast side with a bunch of feints and recovery cancels with a great dash. Roman described him as being a mix between Kensei and the Shinobi, which on paper, to me anything that acts like Shinobi is a negative to me. The one thing that stood out to me was that insane kick. It's not the fastest bash in the world, but when it lands, it really launches your opponent the same way Shigoki launches his opponent with his golf swing. We're not sure if it will wall splat or ledge, and we're not sure if he can follow it up at all, but personally I'm hoping it can't ledge. It also looks like he can cancel one of his attacks into the kick, but don't quote me on that. His dodging heavy looks really slow, but it seems like he can switch direction during the dodge to throw his opponents off guard. He looks like he'll be a great hero, just not for me personally. Now, we didn't see too much of Guan Yu or Nusha, but they did talk about them a little bit. Basically, Nusha will be a great duelist with her hook swords, and she has the ability to trap her opponent's weapon with her swords if you block some of her attacks, so you should want to dodge and poke her out of attacks. And Guan Yu, didn't really hear too much about him except he really wants to bait you out with his extra stance, and that almost all of his attacks are zone attacks and stamina intensive, which sounds really different, so we'll definitely have to see some gameplay of him before we can really speak on that. Now, all these heroes seem incredibly different than all the heroes we have in the game right now, which as I said is good. I think that we should have some depth in combat, but of course this means older heroes who haven't been reworked or tuned up will feel a little dated and won't have much use. Now, we did see a little bit of the new Warden, which basically confirms he's being worked on as the next reworked hero, and while we haven't seen much, it doesn't look like he's getting a vast rework. From what we've seen, he's got a new silly looking dash attack, a chained unblockable top heavy, faster light attacks, and some sort of change to his shoulder bash, which means the shoulder bash is still sticking around. Now, the Marching Winds update releases on October 16th, so that's about 4 months from now, which is kind of a bummer. I know it's a massive update with a new mode, 4 heroes, and one of my favorite changes, new unique dialogue between heroes during fights, but 4 months is a long wait, and the hype will definitely have died down. I was actually hoping they do one of those things where a dev will go up on stage and tell us that it's all available right now, but that didn't happen. Maybe in one of the upcoming Warrior Dens, we'll get an in-depth look at the new heroes or the Warden Rework, because you can't just drop all that information on us and then leave us in the dark for weeks. We'll just have to wait around and see how these new heroes affect the game though. Dropping 4 heroes at once will definitely shake things up, as they'll be everywhere, and anything that's faster than 500 milliseconds will be frowned upon for the first couple of days, but this is something the game needed. Season 6 still doesn't do enough to keep me invested, but it makes sense why it was lacking in content, because they were working on something huge this whole time. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. As usual, I want to hear your opinions on this, so talk to me down in the comments. Tell me which one of the heroes you're most excited for. For me, it's a Shaolin monk. And as always, if you like the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new. And I will talk to you guys in the next video.